Hi, my name is Keith Brown. I'm the principal at Potter Gray Elementary, and I have been a part of the first GRREC Ed experience. The first 2 years of GRREC Ed has been a wonderful experience for me. It's been a great way for me to get my rank 1 and work on projects that will not only help me throughout the rest of my career, but also work on projects and work that will impact my teachers and the students that we have in our building each and every day. And so with the GRREC Ed experience, one of the most valuable things that I've taken away is being able to work with educators that I get to see on a daily basis or a weekly basis, being able to talk about the work that they're doing, being able to see the improvement as an educator, being able to talk about the research that we're finding, whether it be in the same content area or different content areas, and just being able to talk through those things on a regular basis with educators, because we're in this business not only to grow students, but to also continue to grow ourselves. And so that's part of the ways that I've become a better educator and a better leader of my building is just continue to grow over the last 2 years, not only through research, but through conversation and trial and error as well. And so what my end project for my capstone is actually a layer of 3 or 4 different things. The end goal was to provide a STEM-based resource guide for my teachers so that they would know and understand what was in our STEAM lab and the purpose of how those resources connect to the content and how they can embed those lessons within their content in the regular classroom, not necessarily just being able to go to the lab and do some projects or work with robots in isolation, but in how those things are incorporated into how they can incorporate those things into their lesson plans. And so that was my end goal. To get there, I was able to develop a professional development feedback form for my teachers to be able to give specific feedback on the types of professional learning opportunities that they wanted to take advantage of so that they can become better educators themselves. Obviously, the purpose for me was to use this as a tool for providing STEM education, professional development, but it also opened up the avenue and the gateway to have specific conversations with our teachers and allow them to give specific feedback into the areas that they wanted to receive professional development instruction. And so it's not only opened up the door on the STEM side, but it's opened up the door on all other content areas as well. From that, created a STEM walkthrough tool that was used to help our teachers better understand how to implement and how to incorporate the STEM education into their classrooms, and being able to use that tool to provide feedback and talk about STEM instruction specifically, and using the 5E model of instruction. We're making sure our students are engaged and exploring and evaluating the content that is being taught. But it really gave our teachers an opportunity to have conversations not only with myself, but with one another, and how they are improving their lesson planning, how they're improving their delivery of instruction in the classroom as well. So along with that, I wanted to not only get feedback from the teachers, but also get feedback from our students. So a STEM observation form was a feedback form was developed as well, and I've been able to get that information from our students so that they can show us and tell us exactly how they perceive STEM education being taught in the classroom and what their takeaways are from the lessons that are being taught. And so we got very good information from that. We were able to have deeper conversations about how we needed to adjust and how we need to do things better from those feedback forms from our students specifically. And then along with that, after those 3 steps were complete, was able to give the teachers the resource for our STEM lab resource tool, I wanted them to be able to understand the why behind STEM education before giving them a tool and them getting into it and having to decipher on their own what this was for and why I was providing it to them. And so there were layers of the process that had to we had to go through to be able to get this resource to them. But since that time, the resource guide has been viewed, over 40 times by our staff. It's been utilized quite a bit. Our teachers are engaged with the resources in their classrooms that are in the STEAM lab, that are housed there, so that they can have a home. And so our teachers have this resource guide, and they are using this on a regular basis. We do have this year we do have an instructional assistant who's responsible and in charge of our STEAM lab. Students are only in there one time every 3 weeks, so it's on a rotation base, but the STEAM lab resources are being used more frequently than just when the students are in there, and so that's a very good thing to be able to see. Some of the things that limited me along the way with GRREC Ed was just the conditions over the last 2 years. There were a lot of road bumps that hindered not only my progress, but just, a lot of it was just life. I was told before the school year started last year that I no longer had the grant money that I thought that I was going to be receiving to be able to hire the person that was going to be responsible for the STEAM lab, and so I had to revamp what I was doing and how I was thinking along the way. And so those are just some of the things. It wasn't necessarily anything that I ran into with GRREC Ed, but it was just different things were happening within the job as an educator and as a principal. I had to learn how to think a little bit differently on some things, because it was a lot of stuff was just out of the blue whenever it happened. And so I had a great team around me. We were able to talk through things and figure it out. And ultimately, we have this, all 4 of these tools that we're going to be using on a regular basis within our building to help us better understand how to implement STEM education in our classrooms on a frequent basis. And so it's been a wonderful journey, and I'm so thankful that I've been able to go through this with such an amazing cohort. So thanks so much.